Fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Suzanne Armstrong, Executive Director at World Discoveries, and I'm excited to be your host today at our Proteus launch event. Before we dive in, I just wanted to go over some of the Zoom-related things. First, we'll be recording today's event. Also, after the main session, we've got something special for you with breakout rooms. It's your chance to explore each technology up close and ask your burning questions. During the presentations, you can drop your thoughts in the chat because your mic would not be active. To fully enjoy the breakout rooms and seamlessly move between them, make sure you've got the latest version of Zoom on your computer. If you haven't checked that already, now is the time, so please make sure you do that. I think Zoom 5.2 or higher will be the version that you need to be on. Also, a friendly reminder to keep your microphones muted. Feel free to switch on your video and consider selecting the speaker view for best experience. Please hold off on your questions on the technology-specific questions until the breakout rooms, once you're able to go into the breakout rooms. And with that, I would like to just start with a land acknowledgement. While I recognize that this is a virtual gathering with attendees from various locations, the acknowledgement I'm sharing today represents the land I'm currently situated on in London, Ontario. I invite each of you to take a moment to reflect and acknowledge the land you find yourself on today. In recognizing the location of Western University, I acknowledge that it resides on the traditional territories of Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenape, and Chinookan nations. These lands are intertwined with the London Township and Sombra Treaties of 1796, as well as the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum. It's important to note that this land remains home to diverse Indigenous peoples who we honor as contemporary stewards and valuable contributors to our society. I'm excited to be here today as we kick off our 9th year of this awesome competition. A huge shout out to our founding partners, Tech Alliance, Western Research Park, and Western Moorset Institute for Entrepreneurship. And of course, a warm welcome to our competition partners from Ontario universities like McMaster, Windsor, Laurier, and University of Waterloo. Big thanks to all of our collaborators and partners who've been working hard alongside to make this year's competition happen and bring it to our amazing innovator and entrepreneurial communities. And let's not forget our incredible sponsors. Your financial contributions are what make the prizes for our competition winners possible. You guys rock, and we appreciate your support. This year's silver sponsors are Gowling, Briskin and Parr, Western Science, and Western Engineering. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce Melissa Maloney, Vice President at Tech Alliance, for opening remarks. Melissa.
Thank you, Suzanne, for the very kind introduction. And Tech Alliance, for those of you who don't know, is a place for dreamers, innovators, and world-changing ideas. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Melissa Maloney, the Vice President of Tech Alliance, and I'm thrilled to join you this afternoon. As the Regional Innovation Centre for Southwestern Ontario, we empower world-class ventures and fuel growth in Canada's innovation economy, and we champion and coach entrepreneurs and amplify businesses, creating a vibrant technology community. As a founding partner of Proteus Innovation Competition with World Discoveries and Western, we aim to grow and strengthen collaborative experiences between academics and commerce, research and business and institutions and community for the benefit of all. Continuing to build momentum as a vital resource for technology innovators, tech talent, and industry leaders like yourselves. Our team knows that innovation brings exceptional people together, and this year Proteus is shaping up to be just another year of that. We at Tech Alliance wish you the very best with the competition. Enjoy it from end to end, and I'll hand it back to Suzanne.
Thank you very much, Melissa. So it is my pleasure at this one to introduce to you our keynote speakers. So you guys are in for a treat. Our speakers today are two-time Proteus champions, Rimika Sachdeva, Amy Wang, and Danielle Carbonara. These talented team of individuals use their exceptional skills to claim not one, but two consecutive wins in Proteus, Firstly, in 2022 for McMaster's antibacterial phage hydrogels, and then again in 2023 for Windsor's tough pile fabric as framework for stretchable and wearable composite electrodes. Since partnering in Proteus, they have each gone to forge exciting careers in innovation space, with Remika working as a business development analyst and pursuing her master's of biomedical discovery and commercialization at McMaster. Amy in her role as quality manager at High Ivy Health and studying for her master's of biomedical discovery and commercialization, also at McMaster, and Daniela as operations assistant at Hoffman LaRoche Limited, and a Master of Biotechnology candidate at U of T. We're delighted that they are with us today to talk about their experience in Proteus, how it shaped their career paths today, and to offer their advice on how others can make most of the Proteus event and excel in the competition. Thank you, and you guys have got the floor. You can go ahead. Welcome, guys.
Okay, if you'd like to share.
Thank you so much for that introduction.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you so much, and we'll begin our presentation. So hi, everybody, I'm Daniela, and these are my friends and fellow Proteus contestants / colleagues, Remika and Amy. Thank you to the Proteus organizers, as well as World Discoveries and Tech Alliance for inviting us to speak today. As winners of the Proteus competition 2 years in a row, we're excited to share our experiences and impart some advice that we learned along the way through this presentation called From Vision to Victory, Charting the Course for Success in the Proteus Innovation Competition.
So when we first started talking about how we were going to present this keynote speech, we all remember the exact day and time we presented our pitch for the Proteus competition the first time. It was March 31st, 2022 at 4 p.m. I know that seems really random. Why would we all remember the exact day? Well, we remember it well because our final senior thesis research presentation was scheduled for April 1st, 2022 at 8:30 a.m., less than 24 hours after the Proteus pitch. And these were really both important events. The Proteus pitch was a really vital piece for our graduate school application. And it was actually my first introduction to one of my supervisors for my internship. On the other hand, our final thesis was a project that we were losing sleep over for 8 months because it was a requirement for our graduation. But when we presented at Proteus, we were all really sure we were actually not going to win. We saw our competition. There was no way that other participants had a lot more real-world business experience than us. We did not. But our business plan actually earned us the first of 2 Proteus competition winner titles, and our success in this competition really gave us the momentum to finish our final days of our undergraduate degree and propelled us towards the beginning of our professional careers.
And so speaking of professional careers, we wanted to give a snapshot of what we used in the competition helps us in our daily lives today. And so as mentioned previously, I'm a Master of Biotechnology candidate at U of T, and I'm currently completing an internship at Hoffman LaRoche as an operations associate. So within the therapeutic area that I'm assigned to, I work cross-functionally with marketing and medical partners to support commercial projects and brand-related operational tasks. This requires project and people management to coordinate the development and launch of promotional or medical materials, liaise with external vendors, or help organize events such as medical education events or consultancy meetings. And so Proteus was one of my first opportunities to try developing a strategy for the launch and commercialization of a healthcare-related product. As you can see on this slide, we performed a competitive analysis that helped inform and strengthen our solution and our strategy. In this case, this slide comes from the 2022 competition. So in the role that I have now, I help my team also develop strategies. And although these tend to tackle problems and issues that happen later in the product lifecycle, a similar kind of critical thinking and mindset is required. Additionally, Proteus helped me develop my confidence in my ability to perform presentations, answer questions under pressure, manage a team, understand what I'm capable of, et cetera, et cetera. And so not only has this just benefited my mental state, it has also helped have a positive impact on the work that I do. And so now I'd like to pass it to Amy.
Thanks, Daniela. So I'm Amy. I work at Hy-Vee Health. We're a startup company developing a medical device for pelvic health rehabilitation. And my role as the quality manager now is to help ensure that we are compliant with all the international and country-specific regulatory requirements and standards for our medical device, such as by setting up proper procedures and ensuring we have appropriate documentation. And this is really important to ensure the safety and effectiveness of our product and adherence to industry standards. So Proteus was actually my first introduction to the medical device commercialization process, which my company is currently undergoing. And taking part in this competition and researching to create this very commercialization plan on the slide now provided me with the opportunity to begin gaining some experience in the industry that I am currently working in. And Proteus also helped me improve my project management skills. We all had school going on and different schedules to manage. So setting internal deadlines beforehand and assigning individual and group responsibilities was really important to ensure the quality and also timely completion of our deliverables. And similarly, in my work life, there's many steps required before a medical device can go commercial, way more than the high-level overview on the slide. And project management skills are essential to help plan and prioritize tasks and coordinate with others to meet deadlines. So now to Ramika.
Thank you so much, Amy. So I work at the McMaster Industry Liaison Office in the business development team. My job, in a broad sense, is divided into two parts. Firstly, about half my time is focused on helping develop business plans, figuring out how to optimize both the value and utility of a technology, and communicating that value in grants, in the intellectual property strategy, in licenses, and especially in marketing material. The other part of my job description is matching the technology to partners like pharma companies based on these business plans. And a lot of this matching includes marketing the technology itself to relevant potential partners. Proteus really helped me learn both the technical and transferable skills that I often use in my current role. Firstly, Proteus was one of my first introductions into learning how to develop an intellectual property strategy, which is a very large part of my current position. During the Proteus competition, I started to think about what was included in a patent, how claims are phrased, and why patent jurisdiction is relevant when you create a business plan. Proteus also helped me develop critical thinking skills that help me make decisions on how to optimize the value and utility of a technology. If a technology is considered to be a puzzle piece in a large unfinished puzzle of an industry sector, in my current position and as a Proteus contestant, I learned how to figure out where it would fit best. It's often not just about picking the sector with the most money, but you have to think more about where this technology can be the most useful and where you would have the opportunity to capture the most market share.
All right, so now that you've heard about how Proteus has helped us in our professional careers, we'd like to leave you with some high-level pieces of advice that we found to be helpful to our success in this competition, although many of these may also apply to professional life outside of Proteus as well. So the first piece of advice is to be resourceful. The organizers of Proteus host very valuable workshops every year that will no doubt benefit your business plan and final pitch. And we also found it very useful to watch past pitches on the Proteus website, and you can kind of decide for yourself what you liked and didn't like about each to help you prepare for your own. And also don't be afraid to reach out to the inventor or the tech transfer office of the technology that you choose, because they'll be able to provide you with more specific information that you won't be able to find from just searching online. Definitely reach out and ask for advice from these resources available to you. And for instance, we were able to create a better ask slide when we used the feedback we received.
The second piece of advice that I would ask you guys to do is to be specific. Your product needs to have a really unique value proposition. So be really specific about what makes your technology valuable. And based on this value proposition, you also need to be as specific as possible about how you're going to be obtaining this value. The more specific you are about who is funding you, you're partnering with, and which specific market you would want to target first, the more feasible your business plan will be. A timeline like this one that we created for a previous Proteus pitch is a great way to communicate specific and actionable steps.
And our final piece of advice is to be mindful of your time. Sometimes it can feel like a rule of the universe that no important events are ever properly spaced out. That's why you should start early, earlier than you think. We did well in the competition despite the time crunch because we performed a lot of work in advance leading up to important deadlines. Additionally, we strongly held each other accountable to our own timelines and tasks that we set. And so consider what time management strategies would work best for you and your team. For example, keeping a schedule like the one here that we followed in early 2022, planning meeting dates in advance, setting internal deadlines, setting accountability measures, etc. Also consider if you're planning to meet with external stakeholders, such as the tech transfer office associated with your technology, or with folks in the industry who could just give advice, be mindful of their schedules and consider how far in advance you should be reaching out.
Right, to sum it all up, we feel so fortunate to have had the opportunity to take part in Proteus, where what we've gained from the experience truly continues to impact our professional lives. And we hope our tidbits of advice may be helpful as you take on this challenge. Please feel free to contact any of us if you have any questions. Don't forget to enjoy the process and best of luck.
Thank you, Ramika, Amy, and Daniela. Suzanne, I think we have a few minutes for questions if people would like to ask them questions directly, just for a few minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can either type it in the chat or ask now.
Okay, while people are thinking about asking questions, I'm going to ask you a question. So did you guys know each other beforehand, or, so you knew each other and you kind of teamed up, or was the competition that brought you together?
So I don't know if anyone wants to answer this, but I can answer this. So we all graduated, we did our undergrads at McMaster in the Biomedical Discovery and Commercialization program. And so I knew Amy and Ramika separately. And so when I heard about the competition and I really wanted to partake, I was thinking like, who would be like the best people that I know to help like work on this with me? And so that's how Amy and Ramika met, because I sort of formed the group, or we formed the group together.
Yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. Because I know from our previous experiences, there's been situations where actually students from different universities have collaborated together on the Proteus. So it's very nice to see that opportunity. I think there's a question. Is there a question in the chat? Oh.
Yep, it looks like, what were your products and are you still working on them?
I can answer this question. So the first product that we worked on was a business plan and the use of antibacterial hydrogels. I am still somewhat involved in the process of that in my role as a business development analyst in the McMaster Industry Liaison Office, because that file is still active and we're still looking for commercialization opportunities for that technology. In terms of the wearable electrodes, we are no longer working on that file just because we kind of got caught up in our own careers and professional careers as we develop them. But yeah, it would be really cool to see where those technologies go. And we'd be really excited to see if there's any way we can help.
And one thing I can add to that is that, the business plans that are developed, of course, there's always an option for the team to, if they are interested in pursuing it, but if they're not interested in pursuing it, the tech transfer office utilizes that information, because, based on, how well the business plan was developed. So.
And then another question, will we get a chance to form our own team? Yes, you can form your own team and apply on the website, and we will give you the links for that. However, for those individuals who don't have team members in mind, you may email me directly, and we can set you up with the other teammates. See another question. What is the purpose of the tech transfer? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
I think I can attempt to answer this question,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
So in a really general sense, tech transfer offices are kind of a liaison in between the research that's being done in a university and the technology as it commercializes in industry. So for example, if you have a therapeutic agent, maybe part of it gets developed in a lab, and then it can move on into industry and pharma companies like Roche, where it'll get further developed and refined through R&D processes and eventually commercialized to be something that's available to everybody. So we kind of act as an in-between the researchers and the industry itself. In the Proteus competition, they're a great resource in order to help think about what kind of business plans that you can create with the technology that you're going to be presented to today. So based on this information, maybe the tech transfer office has more information about business processes that have been done with similar technology, or maybe they have current policies that help dictate where the business plans can move forward. And so consulting with them, not just about the technology themselves, but for example, if they have policies about where to file for intellectual property, those are really important and really useful information skills to have. So I think that would be really great to learn during this process.
Looks like you nailed it, Ramika. It's exactly what Alice was looking for. And we'll do one final question. Sarah is asking, what courses in your undergrad master's did you find to be the most helpful in your Proteus journey?
I mean, this answer might be a bit niche. I think our undergrads, we did the biomedical discovery and commercialization, so BDC at McMaster, and that entire program was pretty directed towards because most people had a science background, and then it was kind of introducing everyone to a bit more business and commercializing mostly pharmaceuticals, but the general process and learning about intellectual property, patents, and like that was all kind of touched upon our courses. I don't remember if there's one in particular, but you are definitely able to succeed in Proteus without taking any of those courses. They'll definitely be beneficial, but you can definitely still do very well without them. Make sure, again, to reach out to these resources available to you, and you'll do great.
Yeah, so I think, just to add on to that, Amy, it's correct. Like, I mean, so all the tech transfer offices, the business development managers are there to support your journey. And we also have workshops. So the workshops that we provide through the competition are meant to help, provide you that extra, what you need to be able to succeed in the program. But of course, it's, we invite you to, we really connect you with the community, and it's supposed to help you develop the skills that you need. And you learn by doing. So that's what the whole purpose behind the Proteus competition is.
Right,
Okay.
so it doesn't look like we have any more questions. We can move on to the next item. Thank you.
So I think I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on the the competition as a whole, what the structure of it is. It's structured as a 4-month-long journey for our competitors, where individuals are challenged to create a viable commercializing strategy for one of the 5 promising technologies showcased this year. Following the launch event, the contestants are asked to form their teams and submit their abstracts by January 12th. The selected teams will be invited to a virtual business plan workshop, and teams with the best business plans will be asked to participate in a live virtual pitch event on March 27th for a chance to win $5,000 per technology. We're looking forward to the engagement we will be having with this community of competitors over the next 4 months. 5 technologies, one from each tech transfer office of our partner institutions, have been selected to be considered by the contestants for this competition. We'll be inviting the inventors of each technology to talk about their inventions over the next 25 minutes, and the attendees will have a chance to interact with the inventors and ask questions at the breakout sessions after the presentations. Please note that the winning team will also have the opportunity to help commercialize the technology in collaboration with the respective tech transfer offices, if they're interested to do so. So with that, the 5 technologies, as I said, each technology is being put forth by a tech transfer office. So these are technologies that are actively being worked on by the tech transfer offices on commercialization activities. And I think we're going to start with Western technology first. So I would like to welcome Dr. Giovanni Fancini, professor at Physics and Astronomy, Western University, who will be talking about his technology titled watertight composite membranes. Dr. Fancini?
Thanks for this opportunity. Can I share the slides and I can start? Oh, great. So, can you see my slides now?
Yep.
Just
Okay,
go into
so,
presentation mode, Giovanni.
oh, yep.
Yep.
Okay. So thanks
Perfect.
everyone
Thank
for this great opportunity. I mean, I'm really thrilled about this. And I want today to start talking about our watertight composite membranes based on graphene for water nanofiltration. And obviously, the first thing is to understand what we mean about nanofiltration. Obviously, as far as water purification is concerned, a lot of work is normally done with sorbents. A sorbent is a system of particles. It's a bit like, you know, the carbon purifiers that you have, you know, in your water jug in the fridge. The material pass through it, and the contaminants are absorbed by this, and some of the contaminants go through. When you have a filter, instead, basically you analyze your contaminants that you see here in red are normally retained by the filter, and that depends on the size of the pore filters and on the size of the contaminants. And what happens is obviously that the pore size is very important. And normally when you do microfiltration, the pore size is of the order of microns. So you can get bacteria and nanoparticles, etc., etc., etc. But you don't get, for example, viruses or smaller objects. Instead, when you do ultrafiltration, you can get objects that are the size of 5 to 100 nanometers, but you don't get more than that. For example, ions of impurities, imagine lead or cadmium, are terrible in drinking water, and you don't also get many small and polluting molecules. However, obviously, the smaller you go, the more difficult it is to drill pores on a membrane. That's where we fit in, and there is another possible problem on this, that is the fact that the smaller the pores, the more difficult is to have water passing through at a good energetic cost. So basically the energetic cost for passing water through a membrane depends on the membrane thickness. So ideally, you would like to have a membrane as thin as you can. So 2D materials are great on this respect because basically are zero thickness materials. So the energetical through output is great. The fact is, obviously, you have to drill pores into 2D materials. And the idea we started on, that after protecting we have also published, is to put nanoparticles on this type of materials. You etch these nanoparticles rip away part of these 2D materials, drilling pores that are of the size of the nanoparticles you make. So you can tune the nanoparticle size and you tune the size of the pores. Problem is, 2D materials are not normally available in large sheets. You have to do some patchwork, and in this patchwork, you have obviously areas around where water passes through, so you don't have nanofiltration. So here is our idea, and which basically it's about first placing these 2D materials on a grid, on a support. The support is coated all over the place except for these materials, to a colloidal suspension, after which we can drill the pores. So we have a watertight membrane in which basically everything passes only through the pores, where everything else is sealed. So basically you start with the support, you put the 2D material on, you see these flakes that look a bit like leaves, you watertight it completely, and then you drill the residual pores on this. And through these residual pores, you can control the size and you can do water filtration performances. With this technology, we have got pretty exciting flow rates of the order of 10, 20 liters per meter square per minute in basically relatively large inch size membranes. And we can demonstrate that we can capture metal ions such as iron. So how we do perform here? Over the biggest competitors that are track edge membranes, where the pores are done through basically neutrons, we are much better in cost. We are comparable in performance. We may be better in scalability, and we can have reliable systems. The problem we are still facing is obviously we need to scale up. And we are targeting actively agricultural enterprises that have problems to retain specific molecules that match the size of our pores, including, for example, polyaromatic hydrocarbons. They are in the exhaust of cars. They are in as a result of oil fracturing. So they are pretty nasty for agriculture. And our technology is certainly capable to do that. And with this, I think I am running out of time. So I would like to thank you for your attention. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And we look forward to the questions in the breakout room. I think the next technology that we're going to be talking about is University of Windsor. Please welcome Dr. Jalal Ahmed, Associate Professor of Mechanical and Automotive Material Engineering, and Dr.
Susan, is it
Simon.
Windsor or McMaster?
I thought I had Windsor. Is that,
Oh, okay.
did I go
Yeah,
wrong?
sure.
Sorry, was Rebecca, were we doing Windsor or McMaster first?
Sorry, it's
I can go with you.
no, sorry, it's McMaster. I do apologize.
McMaster? Okay,
Yes.
sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, I apologize. Can I welcome Dr. Sandra Moll, Associate Professor of Rehabilitation Science, McMaster University, and Kim Slade, Founder and CEO of Design and Create Inc., who will be talking about their technology titled Beyond Silence, App-Based Peer Support for Healthcare Workers. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Can you give me screen sharing? Hi, everyone. We're so happy to be here today. And Sandra and I want to thank the Proteus competition for the opportunity to participate today and share Beyond Silence, which is an app that acts like a mental health coach in your pocket for healthcare workers. To start, I wanted to highlight that the healthcare system is currently in crisis, and there's unprecedented workload pressures, moral injury, and stressors associated with the pandemic and the recovery from the pandemic. And there's an urgent need for accessible mental health supports, and there are barriers to accessing services and supports. So currently, some of the statistics include 40% of healthcare workers are burnt out, 50% intend to leave their job or profession, and numerous healthcare workers have significant levels of depression and anxiety. Currently, there is a growing market of digital health solutions. However, in a review of some of the competition, we found that there are limited healthcare workplace specific apps, and in particular targeting healthcare workers themselves. So there are apps that provide resources and education and resilience tools, and some offer self-assessment. There is an app in the market that offers peer support in particular, but it's primarily focused on first responders, and they're just getting into the healthcare market. So apps reduce barriers to seeking help and provide an opportunity to offer accessible, customized, private, secure, and on-demand information. In workplaces today, in particular healthcare workplaces, they're very complex. And while there's a standard for psychological health and safety, which sets out policy and guidance, there needs to be a systematic change in how we approach this. And what you're seeing on the screen at the moment are the interventions that can exist in a workplace that provide a scale of care for an employee. And they go from direct interventions to more complex and comprehensive interventions. And beyond silence is here at the bottom. It's more around providing specific guidance and help to the worker. Our solution was co-designed with healthcare workers. We currently hold the intellectual property for the solution, and it provides mobile health information to healthcare workers and promotes early intervention and mental health supports. The current features include links to articles and videos, podcasts and infographics, wellness tracking, a wellness toolkit, goal setting and tracking, and a private secure link to trained peer supporters. There's a portal for peer support providers and resources to support their role. And there's also an administrative portal which allows organizations to update and customize content and track analytics. We also provide information to organizations on how to implement, and this is where we currently are in our research projects. So we've implemented the research within 8 organizations. There's 2 national, 6 Ontario based, and there's about 36,000 healthcare workers that are currently participating in this project. The advantages of our tool is that it's evidence-based, so it's based on research. It's secure and private, and it reduces barriers to help seeking. The content is tailored and has been co-designed with healthcare workers. Resources can be accessed at a time that is convenient for the worker. The peer support is provided by trained peer supporters, and the app has been found to increase mental health literacy and promote psychological safety in the workplace. This is some of the feedback that we have received from users. It's easy to navigate, relevant content. People feel supported and not alone, and inspired to change. And the next steps for us are to complete and publish the implementation research, explore implementation partners, and create a plan for scaling and revenue generation. And just to close, here is the project team along with the email where you can reach Sandra, and a website which provides more information and details. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think now we're going to move into Windsor University Technology. I'll like to invite Dr. Jalal Ahmed, Associate Professor, Mechanical, Automotive, and Materials Engineering, and Dr. Simon Rondu, Associate Professor, Organic Materials, Chemistry, and Biochemistry from University of Windsor, who will be presenting their technology titled Wearable Multi-Sensor Patch for Breathing Pattern Recognition.
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity. Let me share my screen. All right, so today I'll be presenting our technology that is a wearable multi-sensor patch for sensing breathing. So as we know, breathing is the health problem that we are trying to solve. Breathing is very important. We breathe, we live. If we feel anxious or something, we said just breathe or take a deep breath. But how do we know we are taking a deep breath? So, or what is the breathing matrix that can show us in a healthy condition or in some other health-related early vital signs? So, right now to diagnose this, we have to go to a special lab. We have to put all these special equipments and flow meters and etc. to quantify the breathing metrics. So these labs are not easily accessible, although we have seen an influx of wearable sensors, but some of these sensors are not in the place where the breathing is happening, or they are not good enough that can be used for clinical or other purposes. So in order to address this situation, we have a better way to do that. We have a wearable sensor that is like a patch that can be put in somewhere in the diaphragmatic area, and it can then calculate the breathing rate, and it can collect the breathing in prolonged areas, so that people do not need to go to special lab, or in the special lab they can only monitor for several hours or a night, or here they can be monitored for prolonged period, to which will give more accessibility, at the same time more ability to detect early vital signs, so that can give a complete picture of the breathing. And this technology that we have is conformal and easy to fit, and it is also, we are trying to make it in a low cost, but at the same time comparable to the gold standard. Now to talk about what is the exact technology that we have. So if we think about breathing, if we just take a moment and see how we are breathing, when we are breathing, our chest and belly and diaphragm, this is expanding and contracting. So we have two sensors, that's why we call it a multi-sensor. One sensor detects the inertial motion related to the diaphragmatic motion of the breathing. Then we have another sensor that detects the muscle stretch that is happening during the breathing. Then we combine these two, we have patent pending method on this one in here, and use one sensor information and the other sensor information to correct each other and find a exact breathing metrics. At the same time, we can also detect different positions, whether they're breathing on their belly or they're breathing while they're lying or walking, and all these other body motions. So here in this video here, this is a real-time raw signal that you see coming out from our sensor. While these are at the beginning, you will see the normal breathing, the regular breathing, breathing in and out, breathing in and out. So the signal is coming from here. And then some breathe hold. So these are raw signal that as it is coming from the sensor, this is the breathe hold. And take a deep breath, and the participant is taking a breath hold, then breathe out. And this is where you see we compared our technology against the gold standard PSG. We have done a small pilot study, and the result has been published in a journal paper in here. So what are the markets? So the immediate markets are in the consumer, in the niche sports, to train, to give more tools for the coaches to train their players and etc. Health and wellness, to detect anxieties, or for coaching individuals, breathing and other stuffs, first responders and miners, and then the future or the more overreaching market is the clinical, for sleep apnea and other diagnostics. And what is the driving the market? So as I said, there is influx of wearables or apps that some of them will claim they can do the breathing sensor, but most of them are, say, watches or apps. They are not where the breathing is actually happening around your diaphragmatic area. That's where our sensor is, which can detect the actual breathing pattern. It doesn't rely on other signals to correlate it with the breathing. So that is the advantage of us. And with the increase of more accessibility to the health metrics, more awareness for people about their health and well-being and hypertension or anxiety and etc. That's what is driving this market. And as you see, the wearable technology market is increasing. That's where we think that our technology has a very good edge. Now with that, I'll thank you all, and looking forward to discussing more. And this is the team. We have a multidisciplinary team from engineering, from science, and from human kinetics. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can you please now welcome Dr. Emmanuel Ho, Associate Professor, School of Pharmacy, University of Waterloo, who'll be presenting his technology titled Bacteria Responsive Drug Release Platform for Food Packaging.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Let me just load up my PowerPoint here. I believe you can all see it, full screen?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, thank you again to the organizers for inviting me today to share a little bit about my research. So today I'll be talking about bacteria-responsive drug release platform for food packaging. Now, global food waste, as you can imagine, is a huge, huge concern with substantial environmental, social, and economic impacts. Now, you can imagine there's around 17% of all global food is actually wasted. That's equivalent to around 931 million tons of food. So all that food, it could be hopefully used in a better way, or even just, find a better way to recycle it. And rather than having a negative impact, throughout either socially or economically or even environmentally. So for example, if you look at this quote by the Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Program, reducing food waste would cut greenhouse gas emissions, slow the destruction of nature through land conversion and pollution, enhance the availability of food, and thus reduce hunger and save money at a time of global recession. So there is a huge demand right now, and there is a huge focus on sustainability. So the major problem with food waste or food spoilage is really related, in my opinion, to the short shelf life of food products. Right, a lot of you, when you go grocery shopping, you'll take the first thing you'll look at is the expiry date or the best before date, and you always wonder to yourself, why is it so short? Right, if you buy it, they don't sell smaller portions. It's going to be probably most likely wasted within a week. So if we're able to find a way to enhance shelf life, would this be a partial solution, at least, to this global food waste problem? So a lot of food products contain preservatives. Right, the goals of preservatives is really just to prolong the food shelf life, not really eliminate the bacteria. So by the time you actually notice that there's bacterial contamination, for example, it's too late. The entire food product needs to be discarded. And one of the biggest concerns with preservatives is the unwanted side effects. So for example, I listed a couple examples here, and these are common preservatives that are found in food products. Some of them can cause, for example, hyperactivity in children. And some have actually been deemed as a human carcinogen by the National Institutes of Health. So really, what have people done in terms of antimicrobial agents on food packaging and so forth? Well, there are some people that have kind of developed coatings, but unfortunately, these coatings continuously release drugs when you don't need it, right? I mean, why expose consumers to potentially toxic chemicals when it's not necessary? Right? Other groups have actually included, for example, or developed indicators or sensors on packaging material. And really, these are only useful at telling you that something has changed, right? The quality of the food product, maybe there's an environmental change during shipment, but really it doesn't prolong shelf life and it does not eliminate the bacteria. So this is where our technology comes in. Our team is interested in developing what we call smart bacteria responsive platform. Right, so the smart part meaning it's able to detect the presence of specific bacteria. Right, bacteria releases a variety of different toxins. So one of the toxins that we're interested in using as a trigger for our release system is something called cholesterol-dependent cytolysins, or CDCs. So once our coating is within this food packaging, once it senses these CDCs, it can start releasing antimicrobial compounds. One beautiful thing with this is, if you look at this little figure, this is what's a typical nanoparticle or liposome. This is very similar to what's used in the mRNA COVID vaccine. So a lot of you may have already been vaccinated, so you know that it is approved for human health, right? A lot of the compositions, the materials are FDA approved, they're biodegradable, non-cytotoxic. And the drug that we can actually release from our technology platform can also be a natural product. It does not have to be anything that's considered to be cytotoxic to humans. So our composition, as I mentioned earlier, will consist of FDA-approved lipids, right? Just very simple, fatty oils, fatty lipids, okay? And they're considered to be biodegradable, non-cytotoxic, and really, it's very specific, meaning that only in the presence of bacteria, it's going to start releasing a drug. And as you can see here, there's over 20 different species of bacteria that actually produce these CDCs. And a lot of them are actually found in food products. And just to kind of highlight some of our preliminary data, as you can see on the left-hand side, there's a huge jump in release of a fluorescent dye. We use that as a simple proof of concept molecule, just to kind of show that it's working. So when we actually put our liposomal system in the presence of bacteria that produces CDC, you'll see a significant increase in the release of this fluorescent dye. Now, if we put the same liposomes in the presence of bacteria that does not release any CDCs, you'll notice that there's very minimal release of this fluorescent dye. And on the right-hand side, the beauty of our system is we're able to control the rate of drug release. Not only can we control how much drug we want released, but we can also extend the duration. So hopefully, altogether, this can actually improve the shelf life of the product and really control the antimicrobial growth. So the antimicrobial packaging market is huge, right? It's been estimated to reach around $18 billion by 2031. Now, if you notice, I'm just talking about antimicrobial packaging market. Now, packaging market in general is even bigger, right? So one of the major benefits of these antimicrobial packaging is not really just in the food sector, but if you notice I listed here, it could potentially be used in other nutritional or health products, even cosmetics, or even other hygiene products as well. So really anything that you can think of packaging that may require extended shelf life, you can apply this technology. Thank you so much, and I'd be glad to answer questions later on in the afternoon.
Thank you very much. Please welcome Dr. Jennifer Leviot, Associate Professor, Department of Psychology and Criminology at Laurier, who will be talking about her technology, virtual reality, mental health crisis response training.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm just going to share my slides.
Just have to go into presentation.
Yeah, just trying to, I usually use a hotspot, but it's not there. Oh gosh, here we go. And my guess is that it's flipped on you here. How's that?
Yep, that's it. Good.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you. My name is Dr. Jennifer Leviot. I'm an associate professor in the departments of criminology and psychology here at Wilfrid Laurier University. And I'm really excited to share an innovation that we've created here with the community. And it really centers on using VR as an immersive medium for scenario-based training. And it's meant to really foster scalability, more cost effectiveness, and consistency in simulation training. This is a slide that indicates all the partners we've been working with. This is a project that's been in the works for about 8 years, and it's just been in the last 2.5 to 3 years that we've moved into the VR realm. So really, it's important to start, of course, with the problem that we're trying to address. And in this case, being in criminology and a forensic psychologist, my interest is in how police respond to people who are in mental health crisis. And so research, you've probably read in the news, the contact between police and people with mental illness is a very regular and routine part of their work. Between 60 and 70% of their calls go to connect to police going to people who are in mental health crisis or have mental health symptoms that are, bringing neighbors or bystanders. They're concerned about behavior, and so they're calling police. And in the absence of other, crisis intervention units, it's the police that are called to these kinds of calls. And these calls have been on the rise, especially after COVID, and the fact that we're in the midst of a fentanyl crisis. So the problem is that police are, of course, trained more in a public safety focus. They spend quite a bit of time using practicing use of force approaches, and they're not specifically trained in de-escalation. In fact, in Ontario, there's no clear training or evaluation standards for de-escalation skills. And this has led to a number of inquests, a number of important seminal reports calling for changes in Ontario that regulate and require officers to do this kind of training. We're expecting a new Policing Act to come into effect in the next couple of months. It's called the Community Safety and Policing Act. And here we've just finished a public consultation process where de-escalation training will become a requirement when this act passes. So there is certainly a need for accessible evidence-based de-escalation training for frontline officers to assist them in their everyday responses to citizens who are in mental health crisis. So our invention is called the VR Mental Health Crisis Response Training Program, and it is a package that is meant to train police officers and others who are in security and law enforcement in de-escalation and communication strategies to safely and effectively respond to people who are in mental health crisis. We have a live action version of this work. This invention that I'll talk about today, though, is around leveraging VR to provide a series of much more realistic, high-fidelity experiential learning opportunities to help officers to work on their police practice, to rehearse de-escalation and communication skills, and really add on to the competencies that they practice and learn at the police college. Part of this invention also includes an evaluation tool that helps to measure performance of recruits and officers and provide tailored feedback. And the objectives of the curriculum really are to help officers identify when they are responding to a person who is in crisis or has mental health symptoms. The research tells us that oftentimes that's missed by officers, and the program is also meant to improve an officer's practice and acquisition of de-escalation and communication skills. This is an overview of what our program looks like. It's a blended problem-based learning experience. There's a number of interactive online modules that we already have sitting on the Ontario Police College Virtual Academy. We're also putting them onto a Laurier platform as well. And so officers would complete this evidence-based piece. It's a curriculum that has interactive online modules to acquire that foundation for de-escalation and also observe subject matter expert videos. And then really the hallmark of the training is in the applied experiential learning pieces. So instead of having people sit in a classroom and experience more of a didactic learning environment, here we're getting officers on their feet. They will complete a series of 3 90-minute immersive scenarios where they are working through different kinds of crisis scenarios and unpacking them and learning the curriculum through an applied experiential package and using VR to experience these different scenarios. And then officers move into an assessment piece. And I think this is what makes our work different, is that we have a built-in assessment modules in our training program, and they are experiential as well. So after the officers finish the online modules and the applied learning, they move through a circuit of 3 10-minute high fidelity scenarios where they their performance is tested, and they have a sense of what their baseline is and also how they're improving and acquiring skills over time. And that assessment is facilitated through the Depict, which is an assessment tool that we've created. This is a picture of what the mental health crisis response training program looks like on the virtual academy at the Ontario Police College. So it has a series of modules that officers complete around really sort of background information about mental illness and mental health crisis, de-escalation, and relational policing. We published a paper on relational policing, what that is, the context of modern policing, which is an anti-bias training element that is in the program, as well as a focus on race and other intersectional pieces that are very important for officers to consider, and then identifying signs and symptoms, communication, and risk assessment. This is a picture that shows how you can take a live action scenario and bring it into virtual reality. And you can see immediately that the context is much greater. We can add moving traffic. We can change the environment so that it's morning, afternoon, or nighttime elements and how that might change police practice. We can have a number of officers in a virtual environment at one time, and they can practice their de-escalation skills really at a fraction of the cost of what it might take to train in live action. This is gives you a sense of the VR platform and what's required. So we're actually just moving our platform over to the HTC Vive headset. The officers wear a replica duty equipment that simulates what they really bring into their everyday practice. Their simulated firearms and flashlights and different tools, and those are tracked using a magnetic tracker. And that's fully integrated into the environment. And then the trainer uses a device like a PC. We're actually now moving to laptops, so it can be a lot more portable. And officer trainers can use the laptop to control the avatars and move through the training. This is the depict evaluation tool that I had mentioned before. It's a 14-item rater response scale. And this is really an important tool because it's the first time where de-escalation strategies have been articulated in the policing realm and the law enforcement realm. So while this is something that certainly exists in the healthcare realm, this was missing in the policing and security realm. So this is a tool that we've developed and validated, and we're just writing a paper at the moment to publish it and get it out into the community. So what makes our work different is that it realizes a number of recommendations that came from inquests and seminal reports around the building of de-escalation training. It provides rigorous scenario-based curriculum that's anchored in active learning that allows officers to repeatedly practice safe alternatives to the use of force to promote safe, peaceful, and helpful resolutions for people who are in mental health crisis. We're very proud to say that this work was co-designed by a team of diverse community stakeholders to develop the key competencies that form parts, well, really all of the DEPICT and this program as well. It prioritizes and reinforces the de-escalation tactics and communication, enhances mental health awareness among officers, and it's an evidence-based training program. So this is just quickly a slide that lets you know who was involved in the development of the work, right from people who live with mental illness and have experienced police encounters while in crisis, mental health clinicians, nurses, mobile crisis teams, forensic psychologists, researchers, and the academic units, graduate students, Indigenous cultural safety experts, and anti-discrimination experts, as well as defensive tactics, use of force trainers, and the Ministry of the Solicitor General's Community of Practice all took part in developing the key competencies and practices that guide this training and the evaluation. We just published a paper, it came out just a few weeks ago, looking at the efficacy of this training program offered in virtual reality versus live action formats, and found that in live action and VR, we have comparable results at post-test. So we can see certainly learning, very significant acquisition of de-escalation skills from time 1 and time 2 in both live action and virtual reality as compared to a control group. So very, very favorable and exciting findings for us. So we have a brand new VR vendor. We just received $600,000 to complete the release of 2 of these scenarios on Valentine's Day of next year. We're poised to be ready to commercialize with your help sometime in April. We have with this new vendor new duty equipment for officers to use in their training. We don't have a need for Wi-Fi anymore. The systems don't rely on the internet, so we can move away from connectivity problems there. There's an enhanced debrief review mode that's available, a whole library of scenarios that come with this new VR vendor. And we're also currently working with WLU's Center for Public Safety and Wellbeing to build out a T3, train the trainer program to facilitate the instruction and the sharing of this training across Ontario. I'll just leave you with a few potential applications, such as recruit training and in-service police training, but also new civilian crisis response teams that are being piloted across our nation, by law enforcement, campus special constables, corrections, and parole, as well as military police. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think this brings us to the end of the formal section of our event today. I'd like to thank the university partners, sponsors, speakers, and inventors for coming out today. Please note that we will open the breakout rooms shortly for each of the technologies where you can just join in and ask technology-related questions directly from the inventors and the business development managers associated with each technology. It's our recommendation that you budget your time about 5 minutes per room. That will enable you to go to all the rooms and be able to kind of get a firsthand interaction on the technologies individually. And then we will reconvene after the breakout rooms back here in the main room for some final reminders before the end of the event. I just wanted to kind of keep in mind some important dates. January 12th, which is the last day to submit your abstract. January 17th, which is the business plan workshop from 4 to 6 p.m. And March 1st, which is the pitch workshop, sorry. So with that, I think, Rebecca, you're going to open up the
yes, I've placed each of the innovators in breakout rooms along with their business development managers. So everyone else, feel free to go from room to room and ask specific questions about the technology. If you have any issues, just come back to the main room and we'll be able to help you. Okay? Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope that you guys had a chance to go through all the technologies and get an idea of what all the technologies are about. This brings us to the end. I just want to make sure that, please feel free to get in touch with all the tech transfer offices, the technologies that are there. We're here to support you. And I hope that, you guys get on it and, form your teams, let us know, and then just engage with us so you can start working on these technologies, understanding them, and then also coming up with a business plan for them. So we're looking forward to the next 4 months, and you know where to find us. So please get in touch. And other than that, if there's no other questions, the deadlines are on our website. So please pay attention to them, and we look forward to engaging with you. Is there a question?
I thought I saw someone. Is there a team that is not here today? Is there still time to register? Yes. The deadline to register is January the 12th. And you have plenty of time to gather your teams and decide on the technology. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to me at proteusic@uwo.ca.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
And a big shout out to our speakers. I really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.